everyone, welcome back to While You Were Cleaning. Today's Christmas DIY video has a little bit of a backstory to it, so I wanted to put together some homemade clay ornaments for my Christmas tree this year. But when looking up some different recipes for those, I came across several different methods. So in today's video, I wanted to try out 3 of those methods and recipes for you and just give you my thoughts on each of them, how I liked mixing the ingredients together, how easy I thought it was to work with, how much time it might have taken, and then which one was my favorite on the end result. So you can also give me your thoughts after watching this video, which one of these you seem to like a little bit better, or if you have put together clay ornaments before, let me know down in the comments what method is your favorite. So I hope that today's video is helpful for you, especially if you've been wanting to put together your own set of clay ornaments. And if you do enjoy today's video, please hit that like button, please comment down below, and please subscribe to my channel to keep up to date on all of my latest videos. Let's go ahead and get into these DIYs. The first method today, we are going to be cooking, so add your ingredients to a pot. And first off, we're going to add a cup of baking soda. Next, we'll add 1/4 cup of cornstarch, and this is the only method today that we are going to be cooking, so the other ones might be a little bit simpler. And then lastly, you're going to add 3/4 cup of water. You want to stir all of that together, make sure it's nice and blended together. Sometimes cornstarch can get clumpy. Once you have it nice and blended together, go ahead and turn the stove on high. You want to bring this to a boil. You can see here it's nice and bubbly. Once it gets to that point, you want to turn down the heat to medium and then just continue to stir this. Make sure that you do not stop stirring at all, or it might stick to your pan. So you just want to keep stirring until it thickens up and starts pulling away from the sides of the pan. Next, go ahead and transfer it into a bowl. Cover it with some plastic wrap so that it can cool a little bit, and then you can go ahead and knead it in your hands after that. Make sure it's all mixed together and there's no sticky parts, and then go ahead and roll it out. I'm rolling mine out on a piece of parchment paper. You could also use wax paper. Just wanted to make sure that it wasn't sticking to the table. I rolled it out to about 1/4 of an inch thick, and then the star cookie cutter that I'm using here, I did find in a 4-pack in the kitchen section at Dollar Tree. They were on a flat cardboard piece. I believe I shared them in a haul video recently, and it works really well for this project. We're going to finish up this one in a minute, but I want to go ahead and move into the next recipe. This would be considered a salt dough recipe. So first off, I'm going to add a cup of flour and then add in 1/2 cup of salt. And to this one, you add some different spices. So a teaspoon of each: nutmeg, cloves, ginger, and then cinnamon. And it smells so good combining all of these together. Just mix it up really well together. And then next we are going to add in some water. So this recipe called for 1/2 cup of water. I believe I added a little bit more than that to get it to a nice pliable consistency though for this. So just go ahead and give yourself a little bit extra water in your cup, and then just add it a little bit at a time until you can really knead all of the dough together into a ball without it being dry. Next, I went ahead and flattened this one out and rolled it out with my rolling pin. It was very easy to work with. Again, it smells amazing. And I would say it's probably about the consistency of a pie crust or maybe some sugar cookies. And then I used that same star shape on this one as well. And as you can see with the mix of spices that we added to this one, it is just a little bit darker than the baking soda mixture one. And then next we'll do one that's just a little bit darker than that. So this one starts off with that same 1 cup of flour and half a cup of salt, and then into that you add a half a cup of cinnamon. This is another one that smells amazing. Adding in this much cinnamon feels like a lot, but it really does make the finished ornaments have a nice dark color to them. This recipe said to add 3/4 cup of water to it, but again, I just added it a little bit at a time, and it did say to use warm water as well. And I will, down in the comments, put all of these recipes that I used so that you can read over them if you need to. I know I'm putting it up on the screen too, but it'd be easier all in one place. I did end up using the entire 3/4 cup and maybe a little bit more. I had a little bit extra water in my cup. So you just want to try to knead it for a little bit first before you add that last little bit of water, because once you make it too sticky, you're going to have to add in some bright white flour to this, and it might mess with the color a little bit. So this dough did sit out a little bit, and so it dried out, but once I kneaded it all together, it was easy to work with again, and I was able to roll it out just fine. You can just see it has a few little dry bits in there. Again, I would say that this is about the same consistency as a pie crust or a sugar cookie. And I forgot to mention, but this dough and the last one, I did roll those out to about a 1/4 inch thick as well. And here you can see the color difference on those and how that cinnamon just really adds a really rich dark color to these. Next, I want to add some holes to my ornaments, so I'm going to use one of these skewers that you can get in a pack at Dollar Tree or wherever. You could also use a toothpick. Some of these ornaments I did lift up and push the skewer through it just to make sure that the skewer was going all the way through. But I think if it had just a little bit of the dough left on the back of it, you'd be able to push it through after it's dry anyways. And then for my ornaments, I decided to go ahead and bake them in the oven. All of these, you can let them air dry as well, but I wanted to bake them just so I could get it finished a little bit faster. So I did put them all in the oven for an hour on one side, then I flipped them, put them in for an hour on the other side, and here you can see how they finished. The one side was a little bit lighter than the other side, and I did also read that these salt ornaments, you can add a coat of clear spray paint or Mod Podge over top of them, and it'll bring that color back out. So here is how that first baking soda ornament turned out. One of the pros of this ornament is that it is just a really pretty white color without having to paint it at all. You could paint them if you wanted to, and these would last through several years if you pack them carefully at the end of the year. And then here is that one with the mixed spices in it. You can see it's more of a medium brown and then has that lighter color on the other side. I didn't put any clear coats on any of these because I wanted to make sure that they had that really nice smell to them still, but you could clear coat just the one side that seemed to dry a little bit lighter if you wanted to. I would say out of all of these ornaments, these salt dough recipes were a little bit easier to work with because you didn't have to cook them, but the pro of having the baking soda recipe turn out in that white color kind of outweighs the bad. Let me know down in the comments if you've tried any similar recipes before and what you think about today's methods. I really liked all of them, so I don't have much bad to say about them.